So now we are ready to actually decorate this wreath. The things that we do when we decorate are the same for every job. First, we're going to take our book and we are going to look through it and find the correct type of decor that we're going to be putting on this. In this case, we're going to be doing a lavish no bow. So I will come to lavish and I will find 3-foot no bow. Here we have a 3-foot wreath no bow. I would pull this sheet out, I'd make a photocopy of it, and then to pull my kit, when I pulled out the different ornaments, I would just cross them off. Oftentimes we're doing 10 or 20 kits at a time, and that is more effective with our time than doing one kit at a time. So I've pulled out my kit, I've got it ready. The next thing I will do is I will find the picture that corresponds with my lavish 3-foot no bow, and it would be this picture right here. I'm going to take this picture and I'm going to set it on the side, and I'm going to use it as my guide to know which ornaments I am putting where on this wreath. So this is going right over here, and I'm going to leave the wreath where you can see it. Here's my kit full of ornaments that I have pulled. Okay, I am now ready to decorate my wreath. So I have 3 gold 100s. I'm going to put those so they're equally distant across from each other. And I have 3 silvers, and I'm going to do the same thing so they're equally across from each other. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put on my pine cones. I have larger slash pine cones, and those will go in, and then we'll have 2 smaller ponderosas, and they will go in, and these are going in between each of our larger balls here, and these are 100 millimeters. On the 3-foot wreaths, we're trying to find smaller pine cones in general, just so that we don't overwhelm the wreath. When I put in these little ponderosas, I usually put them so the fat ends are facing towards each other, but it's not totally necessary. Now, if I were doing a 4-foot wreath, it would be the same thing, but instead of having 3 of the silver color, it would be 4 of the silver color and 4 of the gold color. And instead of having 3 of the slash pine cones, we would have 4, and we'd have 4 sets of the ponderosas. So it's just on a larger scale. Now that I have these set in and everything is evenly spaced, I'm going to be very carefully following my picture. And my picture is telling me that for every one of these large bowls here, I have 2 smaller balls. One that is an 80 and one that is a smaller size. I'm following what these pictures look like to give me a good guide of what I should do. However, it doesn't have to be exact, especially on a no bow wreath, because the balls are so difficult to identify. Oh, that one goes specifically there and that one goes specifically there. So it's okay if it's not exact. Generally what we're doing is we have our 100s, and we're going to be putting an 80 and a 60 or an 80 and a 70 next to it. If I have a larger 100, if I have a silver 100, then I'll have an 80 gold and a 60 or a 70 of the silver, so that the larger and the smallest ones are together. This is, on some of them I will actually put 3. So I have 2 80s and a 60. So here I have a gold. I am going to be putting an 80 silver, and I'll be putting a gold 60. And over here I have a 100. So I will put a 70 because that's the next largest gold that I have. And I will go ahead and put a smaller 60, and I'm going to actually reverse these so that my 2 long glitters are not exactly by each other. And I have 4 random balls here that I'm going to actually just look and say, where could I use a little more filler? and I'm trying to make sure that I stay a little bit on the opposite side of where these, the ones that are just the same are at. So I have a diamond here. I'll go ahead and put this one further across from it. And I have a long glitter over there. So I'll go ahead and stick this one a little further away from it. Okay, so now I have positioned all of my ornaments. Now when I tie them in, I have to think in terms of which way will gravity pull them. And we have no idea which direction this wreath will be set on a wall. We don't know if this will be the top, or if this will be the top, or exactly what will be the top. So what I have to do is I'm going to tie everything to the center. I just pretend like there is a wire or a rod running right down the center here, and I'm tying everything to it. So I have this ornament right here. Here's my piece of wire. I'm not going to tie so the wire is to the center here. I'm going to tie so that it is right here, right in the middle of this green. I'm not going to tie it so that the wire's hanging out to the side here, because if I do that, it will flop this way. If I tie it to my wires here, it will flop this way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hold my ornament right next to the ball with the wire. I'm going to create a little hole for it here. I'm going to push all the way down to the actual frame because it's a 100 and it's large. And I'm going to go around 4 times. And it was right here to the center. Now if I pull it this way or if I pull it that way, there is nowhere for this to flop outside of this green area, and that's what I'm after. So here, once again, I'm going to tie this to this imaginary bar running across the middle so that my ball can only flop. It can't flop out this direction. And I'm going to go around 4 times clockwise. We do that so that when we undecorate, we know what direction to undecorate from. With this one here, I'm going to tie it the opposite direction. The wire is going to come this direction. Since it is a 60, I'm not putting it in quite as deep as I did the 100 or the 80. And I'm actually going to tuck a little bit of greenery under it to give it some lift. So I will go around doing that exact same thing with each one of these. This is a pine cone right smack dab into the center here. And I would tie it in. Each one of these, this is going to tie this direction. This one will tie that direction. So our wires always come to the center. Our larger balls get set deeper in. What we will do is alternate with the gold and silver with our leaves, and we will set them going around. We don't want them looking like they're totally in a line there. I lay them on first just for spacing purposes, so that I can see, oh, wait a minute, my spacing is a little bit off here. I think I need to bring this over. Ideally, we would have one more silver leaf, which I'm not seeing, and that silver leaf would fall right in here. So when I go to tie these on, I'm tying them on in 2 spots only. One right here, and one towards the, I call this the back, and this is the front, or the bottom and the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap one piece of greenery around that one time, and leave a little bit of greenery standing up. Wrap it around here, right in this area, and leave a little greenery standing up if there is space. So I take this, I wrap one time around, leave it up. Here I wrap one time around, or if there's not space because it's too short, I might just tuck it over. I don't need to wrap around and around and around. These leaves don't go anywhere. They're very, very set.